Welcome to Brazil, a country where the sun kisses your skin, the samba fuels your soul, and the beach isn't just a place, it's a way of life. But beneath the palm trees and paradise lies something that shocks many outsiders, a culture of freedom, passion, and yes, even sex on the beach. Welcome back to Truth and Travels, where we go beyond the postcard and uncover what life is really like in some of the most fascinating places on Earth. Today, we're diving into one of South America's most vibrant countries, Brazil. You know it for Carnival, samba, and endless beaches, but what's life really like here? In this episode, I'm pulling back the curtain on Brazil's wild beach culture, the surprising truth about freedom, and how romance works in a country that dances to its own beat. I'm here in Rio de Janeiro, one of the most vibrant, sensual, and liberated cities on Earth. People don't just live here, they express. They flirt. They dance. They love. Out in the open. And that's what today's episode is all about. The raw, unfiltered truth about life in Brazil, and why this country just might change the way you see freedom, relationships, and even your own desires. 1. The beach is a social hub. In Brazil, the beach isn't just for tanning and swimming. It's a massive social hub, like a moving party that starts at sunrise and doesn't end until the last caipirinha is poured. In Brazil, the beach isn't just a destination. It's the beating heart of daily life. From sunrise to well past sunset, the shoreline becomes a stage for everything from exercise to flirting, from family gatherings to spontaneous dance circles. Back where I'm from, the beach is mostly for relaxing, laying in the sun, maybe reading a book. But here in Brazil, it's alive. It's where life happens. You can meet your next best friend, your next fling, or your next spiritual awakening, all before lunch. Whether it's Rio's iconic Ipanema or the bohemian shores of Bahia, beaches here are full-spectrum social arenas. Locals don't just visit them, they live on them. In Brazil, there's an unspoken rule: nobody sits alone for long. If you're friendly and open, you're almost guaranteed to be invited into a roda, a social circle of chairs, drinks, music, and conversation. One of the most striking things about Brazilian beaches is how inclusive they are. No matter your age, size, or income, everyone shares the same sand. There's no class divide here. No VIP sections. Rich or poor, old or young. Everyone plays under the same sun. 2. Romance and liberation. In many parts of the world, public displays of affection are awkward or even taboo. But here, it's as natural as the ocean breeze. Brazilians are open about romance and attraction. This is a culture that doesn't suppress. It expresses. There's something undeniably sensual about the beaches in Brazil. It's not just the weather or the minimal swimwear. It's a vibe. A national rhythm that pulses with confidence, freedom, and flirtation. In Brazil, beachwear is minimal, but judgment is even more rare. Here, the body is not something to be hidden or shamed. It's celebrated, admired, accepted. Brazilian flirtation is playful, light, and often spontaneous. It's not about cheesy pickup lines or pressure. It's about vibe, chemistry, a look across the sand, or a shared laugh over coconut water. If I like someone, I'll talk. Maybe she laughs, maybe she doesn't. But it's not serious. It's just joy. Connection. We flirt with life. There's a certain lightness to it all. People aren't desperate for attention. They're just open to moments. And those moments happen a lot here. Public displays of affection, holding hands, kissing, cuddling, and more, are completely normal on Brazilian beaches. Nobody bats an eye at a couple wrapped in each other under the sun or making out in the water. In many parts of the world, kissing in public might get you a side eye or even a warning. But in Brazil, it's life. Beaches are full of affection, not just romantic but platonic too. People touch here in a way that feels warm, not weird. 3. Brazilian women are the queens of confidence. In Brazil, confidence isn't just encouraged, it's celebrated. And no one embodies that better than Brazilian women. From the moment you step foot on the beach, you'll notice something unique: the way women carry themselves. Not just their fashion, not just their beauty, but their attitude. It's like they own the sand beneath their feet. In Brazil, Confidence is a language, and women speak it fluently. Here, looking good isn't about vanity. It's part of daily life. Whether you're going to the market, meeting friends, or heading to work, dressing well and feeling good matters. But it goes deeper than appearance. It's about owning who you are. Curves? Celebrated. Skin? Embraced. Personality? Boldly expressed. Nowhere else in the world do women wear bikinis as casually and confidently as they do in Brazil. It's not unusual to see women walking down the street, grabbing a bite, or even taking the bus in just a bikini top and shorts. This isn't just fashion, it's a mindset, a rejection of shame, a celebration of self. And yes, it turns heads. But more importantly, it turns up the volume on female power. While many women embrace their natural curves, there's also an idealized standard: tight abs, sculpted legs, and that famous Brazilian butt. Plastic surgery is normalized, sometimes even gifted after birthdays or graduations. So while the message is love your body, the reality is loving it just right can feel like a full-time job. In Brazil, women don't wait for permission to shine. They light up the room or the beach just by being themselves. 3. When the sun sets, Brazil after dark. And yes, the rumors are partly true. Sex on the beach isn't just a cocktail here. In Brazil, beaches, especially in more remote or secluded areas, have become known as spaces where sensual freedom sometimes goes one step further. By day, Brazil is bold, sunny, and unapologetically alive. But at night, Brazil seduces. When the sun dips below the horizon, the energy doesn't die, it evolves. It becomes music, rhythm, and desire. Brazilian nightlife is built on movement, and each region brings its own flavor. In Rio, samba pours into the streets like liquid joy. In the Northeast, forró wraps bodies together in a romantic two-step. And in the favelas of Sao Paulo and Rio, Bale funk unleashes raw, pulsating energy. Brazil's beaches aren't just daytime playgrounds. At night, they transform. They become social hubs, romantic hideaways, and, for some, open invitations to explore desire under the stars. You'll find couples walking, kissing, holding each other close, and if you wander far enough, you may stumble upon something more intimate. Let's be clear, public sex in Brazil is technically illegal, like in most countries. But on certain beaches, especially those away from tourist-heavy zones, enforcement is relaxed, and cultural norms lean more permissive. If two people are in love, or even just vibing for the night, it's not unusual to see them sneak away behind some rocks, under a sarong, or just beneath the stars. From Rio's Praia do Abrico, a known naturist beach, to the quieter shores of Bahia and Santa Catarina, some spots are practically known for it. Locals know, and honestly, nobody's shocked. While foreigners might find the idea scandalous or exotic, to many Brazilians, it's simply part of a larger, unashamed relationship with sensuality. Brazil doesn't fear the body. It celebrates it. 4. Technology and internet use in Brazil. When you think of Brazil, you might imagine samba music, carnival parades, or sun-drenched beaches. But there's another side to this country that's just as vibrant: its digital culture. Brazil is one of the most connected countries in the world, especially when it comes to mobile technology. With over 95% smartphone penetration, most Brazilians are never more than a tap away from their favorite apps, news, or social circles. WhatsApp isn't just an app here. It's the main way people communicate. Whether you're ordering food, scheduling a doctor's appointment, or planning a party, WhatsApp is the go-to tool. Even businesses rely heavily on it. You'll often see shop owners texting customers instead of using formal email systems. Instagram and TikTok have exploded in popularity, especially among younger generations. Influencers dominate the scene, shaping trends in fashion, fitness, beauty, and travel. In fact, Brazil ranks among the top countries for TikTok usage, with millions of users creating viral videos every day. Social media isn't just about entertainment. It's also a business. Many young Brazilians use platforms like Instagram to launch careers, sell handmade products, or promote local services. It's common to see someone go from posting selfies to running a six-figure online store, all from their phone. And then there's the rise of digital banking. Brazil has become a leader in fintech innovation. Apps like Nubank, PicPay, and Mercado Pago have made cash almost obsolete in many parts of the country. People pay bills, send money, and even invest, all without stepping into a bank. But not everything is smooth sailing. While urban areas enjoy fast internet and high-tech convenience, rural communities often struggle with poor connectivity and limited access to digital tools. The digital divide is real, and it affects education, job opportunities, and economic growth. Still, Brazil continues to move forward one swipe at a time. In a country known for its rhythm and energy, it's no surprise that Brazil is dancing to the beat of the digital age. One post, one message, and one connection at a time. 5. Sexualization versus empowerment, a fine line in Brazil. Sensuality is part of the culture. It's woven into the way people move, speak, and dress. Nowhere is this more visible than in the lives of Brazilian women who walk a tightrope between empowerment and sexualization every single day. On one hand, Brazilian women are encouraged to embrace their bodies and express themselves freely. Confidence is celebrated. Beauty is power. And being sexy? That's often seen as a woman's greatest asset. But here's where things get complicated. While many women feel empowered by how they look and how they present themselves, others say there's an unspoken pressure to conform to certain standards. Whether it's from society, media, or even within their own families, the message can be clear. If you're beautiful, you're valuable. Take Carnival, for example. For many women, it's the ultimate moment of self-expression. They train for months, wear stunning costumes, and perform with pride in front of millions. But critics argue that behind the glitter and glamour, some women are treated more like objects than artists. And then there's the world of sports and entertainment. You'll often see headlines ranking female athletes based on looks instead of performance. Swimsuit calendars sell millions. Playboy still has a strong presence in Brazil compared to other countries. This raises a big question. When does confidence become commodification? Many young Brazilian women today are pushing back. They're rejecting the idea that their worth depends on appearance. They're speaking out against catcalling, unwanted attention, and the double standards that come with being both admired and judged. But change doesn't come easy. Some girls grow up hearing things like, "You're pretty enough to get what you want instead of you're smart enough to earn it." And while that might sound harmless, it sends a message that lasts a lifetime. So yes, Brazilian women are bold. They're sensual. They're fearless. But not all of them choose this path willingly. For many, it's not just about empowerment. It's about survival in a culture that often sees women first and people second. The line between feeling powerful and being objectified is thin. And Brazilian women are walking it every day. Whether it's on the beach, in the spotlight, or just walking down the street, Brazilian women continue to redefine what it means to be sexy, strong, and seen. 6. Cost of living and money matters in Brazil. When it comes to the cost of living in Brazil, the answer is never simple. Because depending on where you are and who you are, life here can feel either surprisingly affordable or shockingly expensive. Let's start with the big cities. Places like Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo are among the most expensive urban centers in Latin America. Rent near the beach or in upscale neighborhoods can easily eat up half of someone's salary. A one-bedroom apartment in Copacabana or Ipanema, you're looking at over $1,000 a month, if you can even find one that cheap. But step a little further out and prices drop dramatically. In smaller towns or inland areas, you can rent a decent place for less than $300 a month. That's why many people live far from work, sometimes hours away, just to afford a roof over their head. Now let's talk food that if you know where to shop, eating well doesn't have to break the bank. Local markets sell fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats at very reasonable prices. Street food like pastel, queijo colho, and coxinhas is not only delicious, it's also super cheap. But if you stick to supermarkets like Carrefour or Pão de Açúcar, or worse, tourist areas, you'll pay a lot more. Bottled water, imported snacks, and name brand products all come with inflated prices. Transportation is another story. Public buses and metro systems are relatively inexpensive, but they can be crowded and unreliable. Many people spend hours commuting because they can't afford to live closer to work. Taxis and ride-hailing apps like Uber are widely used, especially at night when safety becomes a concern. 7. Dating culture can be intense when it comes to dating. Brazilian culture is passionate, direct, and sometimes overwhelming, especially if you're coming from a more reserved background. Flirting starts early and happens often. A compliment, a playful tease, or even a serenade under your window isn't unusual. If someone likes you, they'll usually let you know fast. There's very little of the playing hard to get game here. Relationships can move quickly, sometimes going from first meeting to serious talks within days. But this intensity has its downsides. Jealousy and possessiveness are common themes in relationships. Public displays of affection are normal, so are public arguments. Some people see this as proof of love, while others find it stressful. Also, family plays a big role. Don't be surprised if your date wants you to meet their parents or siblings after just a few weeks. In Brazil, love isn't just between two people. It's often shared with the whole family. So yes, dating in Brazil can feel like a romantic dream or a dramatic telenovela. Either way, it's never boring. 8. Carnival, the ultimate celebration of the body. Carnival in Brazil is more than just a party. It is the ultimate display of how Brazilian culture celebrates the human body, movement, and confidence. Every year, for several days leading up to Lent, cities across the country explode in color, music, and dance. But Rio de Janeiro remains the epicenter, where the body becomes a living canvas of expression. During Carnival, Brazilians from all walks of life pour into the streets wearing costumes that range from elaborate and fantastical to nearly non-existent. The celebration is deeply rooted in history and African, indigenous, and Portuguese influences, but today it is also a symbol of freedom. Freedom of expression, freedom of identity, and freedom of the body. One of the main attractions of Carnival is the Samba Parade, where samba schools spend an entire year preparing choreography, floats, and music. Dancers train rigorously to perform under the lights of the Sambadrome, a purpose-built stadium that holds tens of thousands of spectators. Their costumes are often minimal, designed to emphasize movement and rhythm rather than cover the body. The result is a hypnotic, unapologetic showcase of sensuality and stamina. But Carnival is not just about performance. It is about participation. Outside the parades, millions of people take part in blocos, neighborhood street parties where dancing and socializing happen in real time. On the street, bodies of all sizes, colors, and ages move together in a rhythm that is as much about unity as it is about celebration. What makes Carnival especially powerful is how it dismantles the idea that beauty belongs to a narrow standard. In Brazil, during Carnival, confidence is the currency. Whether someone is muscular, curvy, slim, or elderly, what matters is how they carry themselves. It is an environment where skin is not scandalous. It is natural, joyful, alive. For tourists, Carnival can be a culture shock. Many visitors come from countries where bodies are either hidden or hypersexualized. In Brazil, Carnival offers a third option. It says the body is art. It is rhythm. It is life. And during this time of year, every person becomes a performer, not on a stage, but in the shared human celebration of freedom. In this way, Carnival is not just a spectacle. It is a mirror of Brazilian values: openness, sensuality, and the right to express yourself without shame. It is one of the few moments in the world where the body is not judged, but applauded, not covered, but embraced. And that makes it the ultimate celebration of the body. 9. Gender roles and sensuality. In Brazil, gender roles are both deeply rooted in tradition and yet remarkably fluid when it comes to sensual expression. The country has long held strong cultural ideas about masculinity and femininity, but at the same time, it celebrates a kind of openness and body confidence that allows people to express their sensuality more freely than in many other parts of the world. For women, beauty and sensuality are often embraced rather than hidden. It is not uncommon to see women of all ages dressing in a way that highlights their femininity. This is not necessarily about attracting attention. Rather, it reflects a cultural norm where taking pride in your appearance and feeling comfortable in your skin is seen as a form of self-respect. The Brazilian concept of beauty includes confidence, rhythm, and movement as much as it includes physical appearance. Men, too, are expected to present themselves with confidence. Brazilian masculinity often includes strength, style, and expressiveness. Unlike in some cultures where emotional openness might be discouraged among men, Brazilian men are generally more comfortable showing affection and enjoying music and dance in public. There is room for flirtation, charm, and emotional expression, especially in social and party settings. What stands out most is how sensuality is treated as a natural part of life rather than something taboo. It is present in the way people dance, the way they greet one another, and the way they interact. This does not necessarily mean people are being provocative. Instead, there's a shared understanding that touch, eye contact, and body language are valid and healthy ways of communicating. This cultural openness also leads to more fluid boundaries between traditional gender roles in certain social settings. For example, during Carnival and other large celebrations, both men and women often step outside of their everyday roles and experiment with costumes, behavior, and identity. In these moments, it is not about being male or female. It is about being expressive, joyful, and free. Importantly, this cultural environment does not mean that everyone in Brazil has the same experience. There are still conservative elements in society, and issues like gender equality and respect are ongoing topics of discussion. However, in public life, especially in cities and during celebrations, Brazilian culture leans toward acceptance of the sensual side of human nature. In this context, sensuality is not something hidden behind closed doors. It is part of the rhythm of life. From the way people dance samba to how they interact at the beach or in the market, there is a constant sense of presence and energy. It reflects a culture that sees the body as a form of expression, not as something to be ashamed of. That attitude toward gender and sensuality is one of the defining features of life in Brazil. 10 out aesthetics are not taboo. In Brazil, physical aesthetics are not a taboo subject. In fact, they are often celebrated openly. Brazilians generally take pride in appearance, and self-care is seen as a sign of confidence rather than vanity. Whether it is fitness, fashion, grooming, or even cosmetic enhancements, looking good is not just accepted, it is encouraged. You will notice this at the beach, in city streets, and during festivals. People of all ages and body types embrace bold colors, stylish clothes, and active lifestyles. There is no shame in admiring beauty, nor in wanting to feel beautiful. Compliments are given freely, and the atmosphere does not turn judgmental when someone puts effort into how they present themselves. In this culture, appearance is not tied to insecurity. It is a form of self-expression. It reflects a larger Brazilian value, the belief that the human body and spirit deserve to be celebrated, not hidden. From street fashion to public celebrations, aesthetics in Brazil are a joyful part of everyday life. Brazil is more than a destination, it's a feeling. It's the freedom of expression, the rhythm of samba in the streets, and the comfort of being seen without shame or judgment. Life here teaches you to live in the moment, to value beauty without fear, and to connect with others in ways that feel honest and human. If you ever find yourself in Brazil, don't just observe, participate. Let the culture move you, let the people inspire you, and let the energy change the way you see the world. Thanks for exploring with Truth and Travels. Until next time, keep searching for places that challenge what you thought you knew.